President of Indo-French Chamber.
Thank you so much. Honorable Minister of Energy, Government of Maharashtra, Shri Nitin Raut, Consul General of France to Mumbai, Her Excellency Madame Sonia Barbary, members of IFCCI, the Indo-French Chamber of Commerce and Industry, especially from the energy sector, and guests. Good afternoon, everyone. Good morning, actually, still. And thank you for joining us today for this virtual roundtable with Honorable Minister Shri Nitin Raut. Dear Honorable Minister, we're very thankful to you to take out this time to interact with us today on this important subject. We have here a group of members of the Indo-French Chamber that represent the energy sector, and as I will tell you in a bit, are some of the leaders of the energy sector worldwide. Honorable Minister, maybe a few words on the Indo-French Chamber before. The Indo-French Chamber is one of the most active bilateral chambers in India today. We have 5 offices across the country and 600 members, and we organize more than 120 events in India across the year. Our main objective is to foster business relations between France and India and to support French companies looking to expand their business in India. Therefore, this platform is very important to our members as we'll have an opportunity to directly interact with you and your ministry and your team to present our recommendations and our concerns. We'll also be presenting a white paper today prepared by IFCCI along with our knowledge partner Khaitan and Company on making Maharashtra a preferred destination for renewable energy. As you know, sir, France and India have outstanding relations and are amongst the closest strategic partners and at the highest levels of both our governments. France and India also committed on a transition in their energy system aimed at reducing their greenhouse gas emissions, increasing their energy independence, and diversifying their sources towards renewable energy. The COP21 summit that was led by France, the World Climate Conference in Paris in 2015, led to the implementation of ambitious policies in terms of performance and energy efficiency, areas in which French companies and Indian companies are already extremely committed. The International Solar Alliance, which is co-led by India and France, reflects the need to establish a cohesive and robust global structure which can meet the goals of adaptation as well as integration of energy resources along with climate change. There are many French companies that are amongst the global leaders in the energy sector who are leading this energy transition worldwide. They are all active members of our chamber, IFCCI, and are part of a very strong energy and utility sector committee. The committee is actually now led by our new chairperson, Neeraj Nanavati, who will be speaking today, who is also the country head and CEO of ENGIE, one of France's leading energy companies. I congratulate Neeraj for taking on this role. Honorable Minister, let me take a few moments to tell you about some of our member companies. I can start with ENGIE since I just talked about Neeraj. ENGIE, sir, is a 60 billion euro energy giant and a leader in gas and renewable energy, including in India. They have been one of the biggest investors in solar and wind energy in India and had an installed capacity exceeding 1.5 gigawatt in India alone. I take one of the other large companies we also have their chairman and CEO today, which is the group Total. Total is one of the top 10 petrochemical giants of the world with a turnover of 200 billion euros, which operations in more than 130 countries. They're also a global leader in liquefied natural gas and a major player in low carbon energies. In India, over the last 12 to 18 months, they've made significant investments in areas of LNG, city gas distribution, and renewable energy. We also have the country head and CEO of EDF with us today. EDF obviously is, France's oldest and most well-known electricity company, which has been in all areas of electricity and has a big presence in India. Schneider Electric, as you may know, is also one of the leading companies in the world. It's a $26 billion company with 137,000 employees worldwide and a presence in 100 countries. They're amongst the leading foreign direct investors in India from France, and just last year acquired the L&T electrical and automation business, which is headquartered in Bombay for $2 billion, making them one of the largest foreign investors in India last year. We also have from France a lot of innovative companies and SMEs, and one of them is represented today with Technique Solaire, which is led by its young managing director, Manu Bishnoi, who will also be speaking today. So as you can see, sir, these companies are leaders in the energy sector worldwide and are leading the transition to renewable energies. They have investments already in Maharashtra and they like to invest more in Maharashtra, especially in the renewable sector. And in the white paper that will be presented to you, you'll find many valuable recommendations that can support them and encourage them in making these investments. So I hope that you will find this interaction useful, and I thank you again for giving us the time for each of our members in this very private roundtable to interact with you and your team personally. Before I request our Consul General, Madame Barbary, to speak, sir, we have just one question. In the agenda, I think you have been requested to speak at the end of when the companies have spoken. Would you prefer to do that, or would you rather speak in the beginning before the company speaks? So what would you prefer? Sorry, we can't hear you, sir.
After the completion of the talks of your companies, I will speak.
Excellent, sir. That's great, sir. Okay. So with that, now I'll request our Madame Sonia Barbary, Her Excellency the Consul General of France to Mumbai, to deliver her keynote address. Madame.
Thank you. Thank you. Honorable Minister, Shri Nitin Raut ji, President of Indo-French Chamber of Commerce and Industry, dear Sumit Anand, and all my friends from the IFCCI team present today. Dear friends, representative of French companies present here today. It's really a real pleasure for me to be with all of you today. And thank you again, Honorable Minister, for making the time to set up this meeting with some of our French companies who are working and investing here in the state of Maharashtra. Thank you so much. As you know, and Sumit just mentioned it, as you know, France and India have a very strong strategic partnership for more than 20 years now. Our cooperation is very well known in areas like defense and security, as well as space cooperation. But France has also been having a growing economic presence and footprint in India. Our trade relations have doubled in the last 10 years, and reached more than 12 billion euros last year. And our companies not only trade with India, but they also come here to invest and produce locally. So they are heavily engaged in the Make in India process. Today, in the whole of the country, we have about 1,000 French companies and subsidiaries investing and producing locally, and they employ 3.6 lakh Indian people. So it's not a small participation, as you can see. And of course, energy is an important sector of this cooperation. Actually, the transition to a low carbon economy is one of the key pillars of the Indo-French cooperation. The launch by our two countries, France and India, of the International Solar Alliance in 2015, at the COP21 in Paris, is one example of the mutual ambition to accelerate the transition to have clean energy. But this ambition is also translated right there on the ground. French energy companies have been developing and deploying renewable energy projects in India for nearly a decade now, and they have a combined solar and wind portfolio of more than 6,600 megawatts. In fact, solar project, the solar project with the lowest tariff is in Maharashtra and has been developed by a French company, which is present here with us today, Technique Solaire. You will be able to interact, and they have the lowest tariff in Maharashtra. We also, as you know, have a project of setting up the largest nuclear power plant in the world, 9.9 gigawatt, with 6 EPR reactor in Jaitapur, which will be able to produce electricity at a very competitive price. All of these French companies have a strong footprint in Maharashtra with offices and projects in the state. This includes different types of companies, from big multinational as ENGIE, EDF, Schneider Electric, L'Oréal, Prysmian, Legrand, Total, to SMEs like Technique Solaire, which I already mentioned. So I'm very happy that representatives of these companies could join us today. I would also like to add, Mr. Minister, that the French Development Agency, AFD, and Proparco, which gives loan at a very low interest rate, have invested 4,600 crore rupees in India for renewable and energy efficiency. These investments include 15 megawatt Baga-based cogeneration plant in Maharashtra that was financed through a 1,500 crore rupees AFD line of credit with IREDA, the Indian Renewable Energy Development Agency. The French Development Agency is also interested in providing technical assistance or financing energy efficiency or renewable energy projects in Maharashtra. So they would like to come whenever it's possible. They would like to come from Delhi, where they are based, and come and interact with your team. The areas of interest of AFD, the French Development Agency, are smart grids, in particular to reduce technical and commercial losses of discoms, and emerging solar technologies such as floating solar. Hybrid projects combining wind, solar, and storage, as well as rooftop solar projects, are also in their area of interest. More companies, Honorable Minister, more companies would be interested to invest in Maharashtra, but sometimes they can be halted by some obstacles. Some of these companies are present in other states of India and would like to come and explore opportunities here in Maharashtra. So this is the idea and the aim of this discussion today, and to see where Maharashtra can become even more attractive for those companies. Especially given the amount of solar resources in Maharashtra, the state could focus on creating an appropriate framework for solar park tenders in terms of land, connectivity, and also risk allocation. But this is the aim of the white paper, which has been presented to you, will be presented to you and will be handed over to you, that I invite you and your team to read and study, and please come back to us with some feedback or feed for discussion. So I would like to thank you once again, Minister, and hand over the floor now to the representative of the French company to have a spontaneous discussion. Thank you so much for taking the time.
Nice. Thank you very much. Thank you.
Good morning, Honorable Minister, Shri Nitin Raut ji, Madam Babri, Sumit, and friends of IFCCI, as well as from the industry. Thank you very much for having me. It's a privilege for me to be here today, as in my brand new capacity as the chairperson of the Energy and Utilities Committee of IFCCI. So thank you for having me in such a short time. As Sumit has explained at the outset, IFCCI is an aggregation of French industries, all aspiring to increase their investment base in India and grow their business. For the Energy and Utilities Committee in specific, it has also been very active in its push for clarity of reforms and advocating for investor-friendly rules and regulations. And in that context, they have collaborated with the industry and economic think tanks to publish a number of white papers to further the cause of the nation's push towards 450 gigawatts of clean and renewable energy by 2030. But before I get into some details, just a little bit of background about myself. I lead NG's activities across all the verticals in India today. And as Sumit said at the outset, we are the world's largest independent power producer with installed capacity of over 120 gigawatts across wind, solar, thermal, hydro, nuclear in 70 countries. India remains a center of our strategy, a very attractive destination for us, despite our global footprint. And as a founding member of the International Solar Alliance as well, in India, we've been in operations in various capacities over the last decade or so. Today, our platform in India is over 1.5 gigawatts in clean and renewable energy. We also have an engineering consulting business called Tractor Bell, which is an infrastructure consulting powerhouse, lending its services to the government in the fields of infrastructure, waterways, roads, bridges, power plants across various sectors as well. Today, if I have to step back and see where NG, along with our various other partners in the renewable space, are looking at India for, it's for clarity of reform, clarity of regulations, and Maharashtra remains a top 3 destination, especially because of the rich wind and solar resource that the state possesses. However, the last few years, despite a number of auctions happening in the country, Maharashtra has not had that much success in terms of attracting investor dollars. And I think there's been a number of reasons for that, and I think we'll delve into that in the coming session. So I'm going to turn it over to Divyanshu now to kind of spend a few words on what could make Maharashtra an even more attractive destination, sir, for attracting investments from the renewable and the energy services companies. So over to you, Divyanshu, and thank you.
Thank you, Neera. Good morning, Honorable Minister, Council General, and other distinguished panelists and guests. Thank you for taking your time out for and hearing to us. Maharashtra is one of the most industrialized states in India and consistently has maintained its leading position in terms of being a commercial hub. The state has largest number of export promotion zones and has a large base of skilled and industrial labor, making it ideal destination for businesses. The policies of government of Maharashtra have created a conducive environment for industries to function, and this is evident from the significant contribution to the nation's GDP. Gross state domestic product of the state grew at compounded annual growth rate of around 12% in the last decade. Cumulative FDI inflows in Maharashtra in the past 2 decades stood at around USD 134 billion. In 2019 alone, 410 investment intentions worth 5.59 billion have been proposed in the state. As Neera was also mentioning, Maharashtra has a renewable energy potential of 114 gigawatt. During the last 5 years, the renewable energy capacity in the state has recorded a compounded annual growth rate of around or above 15%. It also has a renewable energy target of 22 gigawatt by 2022. The current infrastructure in the state is adequate to absorb 14 gigawatt of renewable energy capacity. And according to one of the Niti Aayog's report, it continues to have the strongest intra-state networks. Maharashtra, due to its strategic location and due to conducive business policy, presents a favorable environment for development of renewable energy sector and has huge potential of being a leader in the renewable sector. According to government reports, annually more than 10 million man-days employment is being created in the sector. So even from a employment perspective, this is one of the sectors to look at. In view of the aforementioned background, which I mentioned, we have had discussions with relevant stakeholders present in the roundtable who will also present their views. Based on the discussions, we have put together a few issues and suggestions for your kind consideration in this white paper. I would just briefly touch upon a few of the issues. One of the main things which we came across was facilitating swift disposal of approvals will help in attracting more investors. A single window clearance platform, including a single window having synergies of various departments which are concerned for approvals to be obtained from local authorities, and consolidation of different approvals will allow the developers to have and receive timely approvals and facilitate ease of doing business. Simplifying land acquisition process will further help developers to save time and cost. Land acquisition for renewable projects is one of the most critical and time-consuming steps in the entire value chain of development. To that extent, digitalization of land records and concessional stamp duty for acquisition of land for development of renewable projects will further provide much needed incentive, which eventually will be passed on to the publics in terms of a more competitive and attractive tariff. Secondly, I think certainty of policies and sanctity of contract still remains the cornerstone. Maharashtra has been supportive in this regard. Certainty of policies and maintaining the sanctity of contract boosts investor confidence. We will request the government to continue with the same approach, unlike in certain states where renegotiation of tariff has posed challenges and has created a lot of uncertainty and doubts in the minds of foreign investors. COVID-19, moving on, has presented several challenges to both human life and industries. The already distressed power sector have aggravated with the impact of pandemic. While a need of a financial package for power sector cannot be overemphasized, but in order to provide liquidity to the project developers, performance security may be tied up with certain milestones, and the same may be released proportionately according to the milestones being achieved in a more timely and proactive manner. This will provide liquidity to the developers to further infuse in the sector and help tackling cost overrun problems and meeting obligations under the financing documents. Providing extension of time for under construction projects would further, which is already ongoing, but having a holistic perspective because of the delays in procurement and overall impact on the value chain, having a more practical approach to that will provide relief to the developers facing disruption and other impediments in the construction of projects. So now resumption of activities having taken place. I think one more issue which I would want to touch upon was technological advancement has become inevitable in human life. With evolving times, digitalization of DISCOMs will help bring in long-term stability and efficiency in the power sector. The distribution sector is witnessing transition in the role of DISCOMs from just being supplier of electricity to a more complex role of being a manager and of the grid to consumers, and to meet demands of digitalization of DISCOMs is eminent. Additionally, more support needs to be provided in procurement policy for adequate balance between quality and quantity, at the same time keeping the cost optimum. And one thing which we would request to also look at a QCBS rather than the L1 model going forward in certain complex projects. Further, the new procurement policy can also look at having certain requirement of having a local partner who source the technology component from global leaders and add value to boost Make in India campaign, which we have. These steps are low-hanging fruits, which will help Maharashtra go ahead in the ease of doing business ranking, which is around 13th amongst the Indian states. We'll request you all to refer to the white paper for further details and additional points. And thank you for this opportunity. I'll now request other participants on the roundtable to provide their views.
Thank you very much, Sudhanshu. What we will do now is we will have each participant speak or mention their views, and then we will have Honorable Minister to reply to them. We will start with Mr. Thomas Messer from the Embassy of France. I request you to kindly unmute yourself.
Good morning, everyone. Honorable Minister, President of Indo-French Chamber of Commerce and Industry, dear Consul General, and dear representative of French companies. Thank you for giving me the opportunity to speak during this event. I work at the French Embassy in New Delhi as technical advisor on nuclear issues. I would like to share some information regarding the Jaitapur project and the proposal to build 6 nuclear reactors in the state of Maharashtra. First of all, this project is a key asset to contribute to the Indian strategy of electrification and to address the increase of electricity needs in the coming years. Jaitapur will be the largest nuclear power plant in the world, with an installed capacity of 9.9 gigawatts. The plant will deliver up to 75 terawatt-hours of CO2-free electricity. It will represent almost 25% of the energy consumption of the state of Maharashtra by 2035. Jaitapur will be able to power an equivalent of more than 70 million households based on today's consumption. And the plant will also help to avoid the emission of more than 80 million tons of CO2 per year. Regarding the price of electricity, the project will be in line with other nuclear projects currently being developed in India and will be competitive with other electricity production means. As an example, the price of electricity in France is one of the lowest in Europe, thanks to the operation of a large fleet of nuclear power plants. The Jaitapur plant will also bring various socio-economic opportunities to the state of Maharashtra. The estimated direct economic impact of the project for India is more than 1 lakh crore. Most of these economic benefits will go to the state of the Maharashtra. In full compliance with the Make in India initiative, the objective is to reach a high localization rate for the whole project. EDF has already developed strategic partnership with the key Indian players and identified more than 200 Indian companies that may contribute to the project, manufacturing, procurement, and construction. Most of these companies are located in Maharashtra. More than 25,000 job opportunities are expected during the construction phase, with an average of 8,000 workers on construction sites each day. And almost 3,000 long-term jobs will also be created during the operation of the plant. In full compliance with the Skill India initiative, a dedicated local skill development plan will also be implemented, with the goal to enhance the level of local skills, focus on technical education and training for workers, technicians, and engineers. As an example, an engineering platform will be set up in Maharashtra by Indian and French partners. Up to 1,000 people will be hired and trained to support the project. And French organizations dedicated to training and skill development are also willing to have preliminary discussion with IIT or university in Maharashtra. Thank you for your attention, and I welcome any question or request for additional information about this project.
Thank you very much. May I now request Mr. Alexei Telemark from Total Oil to please switch on their camera and unmute themselves.
Yes, good morning, Honourable Minister. Good morning to all. Just a few words about Total. The Total Group has been active in India for close to 30 years now. Total used to be known more for petroleum, but good to know that today Total is actually producing more gas than oil. And India is clearly one of the countries where we are developing the marketing of natural gas through a partnership with the Adani Group. Total is also heavily engaged in the renewables and the development of low carbon electricity. As a major energy player, we have integrated climate into the core of our strategy, and it is now our ambition to get to net zero emission by 2050 together with society. It's a goal that is aligned with our purpose to provide energy that is more affordable, reliable, and clean to as many people as possible. So India is a strategic country for us. I'm sure you know it. It's a country where we are developing, of course, a lot of solar energy. This goes from the Total Access to Energy project, providing portable and affordable solar solutions to the population, up to very large solar projects. We today have a portfolio of projects for more than 2 gigawatts of solar plants in 11 states in partnership with the group Adani. Sorry, none of these projects today are in Maharashtra, not for now, but we hope that we'll be able to extend some projects to this key state where we today have already other activities. Thank you.
Thank you very much. May I now have Mr. Harmanjeet Nagi from EDF? May I have Mr. Harmanjeet Nagi from EDF, please? Okay, I think we will go on to the next participant. May I request Mr. Nirav Nanavati to mention his views? Anything
Yes.
specific?
Yeah, thank you again. On behalf of NG, Shri Nitin Raut ji, we are not present in Maharashtra today in terms of assets that we own, but we run our entire solar operations, which is almost 1 gigawatt of solar plants spread across 7 states out of Pune, where we employ 100 people. We continue to view Maharashtra as a very favorable and attractive destination, and are keen to participate in the next round of state auctions, both on the wind as well on the solar side. We build, operate, and develop our own plants globally as well as in India, along with our partners who are financial investors. We remain the operating and industrial partner on the ground. In terms of favorable policy and framework, there are two specific issues that I wanted to highlight, if those could be looked into in the context of the white paper that was presented by Ketan and company. And first is the extension of time for projects under construction. You know that with the pandemic, there have been various issues in mobilizing labor and workforces across our construction sites, and Maharashtra is no exception. So to the extent that the administration of Maharashtra can extend the time allotted for the PPAs and for the completion of projects under construction, I think that would be helpful for the industry as a whole, to align that with the Ministry of New and Renewable Energy, number one. And second, if payments can be accelerated by the state discoms, that remains an issue with some of the industry participants. If that process can be facilitated and smoothened and accelerated, I think that would also go a long way in keeping Maharashtra at the top of the investment destinations for companies such as ourselves. So those were my two limited points, sir, and thank you for that.
Thank you very much. May I now request Mr. Latish Babu from Schneider Electric? Sir, you are still on mute. If you could please unmute yourself.
I'm audible now?
Yes, you are. Thank you.
Yeah. Good morning, Dr. Nitin Raut, Mrs. Sonia Barbare, and the rest of the distinguished guests. Thanks for having us today. Just to give you a brief introduction of Schneider. Schneider is a company which is set up in 100 countries with almost 23 factories based out in India. We have around 20,000 employees in India with reasonable interest in Maharashtra. We are in the field of energy and automation digital solutions for building efficiency and sustainability. We work with multiple states, including Maharashtra. What our technology does is it enables digital transformation of industrial automation and energy management. We have a portfolio of integrated solution designed to increase customer efficiency through process efficiency and energy efficiency. A couple of points have already been presented in the white paper. What I would need the support of the Honorable Ministry is ease of doing business in Maharashtra. As part of our technology transfer, we have licensed partners based out in Maharashtra to provide employment locally, to provide local service, etc. So it'll help us if you could help instruct the concerned discoms and utilities to give the approval for local partners. That is the first support we need from you. Second is more to do with digitization. It'll be good if the discoms and transmission companies open up on supporting more of digitization, where we could probably have one-on-one seminars where we could share knowledge and share technology with the discoms. And that's it from my side, Madam.
Thank you very much. May I now have Mr. Benoit Leclerc from Prismia India to unmute himself?
Yes, dear Honorable Minister, Consul General Sonia Barbare, Mr. Sumit Bruno, Tracy, thank you for organizing this valuable meeting. Prismia is a company overall of 11 billion euro. We are present in India with 2 factories in Maharashtra, in Chiplun and Pune. We provide quality cables for almost all the industrial environment you can imagine. Obviously also in the area of mining, solar, nuclear, wind, and gas and hydro. We work very closely already with key operators in India, Siemens Gamesa, Suzlon, Envision, Enersys, and also with the utilities. We currently have a lot of advanced projects with Adani, Tata Power, PGCIL, and Kalpataru. Prysmian not only supply quality cable, but also a full solution from control, instrumentation, optical fiber, power, but also evacuating the power from the wind and solar energy to the substation and to the grid. And in addition to that, we perform these activities with non-polluting materials. We innovate a lot in using no lead, no halogen, much lighter material, much more conductive to ensure better output. We really welcome your help, Honorable Minister, to boost the number of projects in the state, not only onshore, but also offshore. As I wrote in my paper, India is blessed with a large number of kilometers of coastal area, and certainly offshore wind project, but also hybrid and floating wind farms can be a great progress for all of us. We have in the pipe a lot of additional projects of localization in terms of R&D, recruiting, manufacturing, investing, that can be determined if we have much more project and much more turnover. So we are extremely bullish and enthusiastic after this awful COVID period, and we, Prysmian, will be ready to help, listen, and provide all our service to the different people around this timetable. Thank you.
Thank you very much. May I now have Mr. Manu Bishnoi from Technique Solar.
Yeah. Hello, everyone. Honorable Minister Shri Nitin Raut ji, Honorable Consul General, Madam Babri, Sumit, Payal, Bruno, and all my friends from IFCCI family. Sir, thank you for allowing us time to interact with you today. Just to briefly tell you about Technique Solar. Technique Solar is a French SME working in the field of solar and biogas in France since 2008. In India, we started in 2015. We have two projects in India, one in Uttarakhand and one in Maharashtra. The Maharashtra project was recently commissioned in December 2019, which is a 27 megawatt peak project situated in the district Parbhani in a small village of Ratnapur. Just to tell you, sir, I think there is some background noise. Yeah, thank you. So, sir, we participated in the MSEDCL tender in 2018, and we are providing lowest solar tariff in Maharashtra at 2.71 per unit. So we have had an amazing experience setting up the project in Maharashtra. Obviously, there are a few hurdles which is inherent with these kinds of projects, and it is there wherever you set up the project. But I'm sure with the recommendations given in the white paper, we will be able to attract more investment in solar energy. I strongly feel that because I've done a project in Maharashtra, and if a French SME can do it, then I'm sure all my colleagues from French companies, they are able to execute more projects in Maharashtra. Also, just to tell you, we set up the project in Manwat Tehsil. The area is quite arid in climatic wise, so there's not much agricultural activities. So we procured land from local farmers, and we employed almost 200 to 300 people during construction from the local district of Parbhani and nearby areas. And during the operations, we are employing around 40 people full-time from the local region. So there are few ginning mills present in this area, but otherwise there's not much activity. And I'm sure that renewable energy can boost economic activity in this region. So, sir, thank you so much once again. We are interested to develop more projects in Maharashtra, but there are some issues which we'll definitely try to resolve with you. And I'm sure Maharashtra will be a good upcoming destination for renewable energy. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Manu. May I request Mr. Alok Oak from L'Oreal to please come on, to please unmute himself.
Hello. Yes. Good afternoon, Honorable Minister, Mr. Nitin Raut ji, Madam Sonia Barbie, Consulate General, and our colleagues of IFCCI. So I'm representing L'Oreal today. L'Oreal is a French cosmetic company, 100 years old. We are in India since 25 years, and we have made Maharashtra our home base. Our office is in Mumbai, and we have a good state-of-the-art factory in Pune for the last 15 years. We are not in energy sector, we are in cosmetics, but we are having a large ambition of being carbon neutral throughout our plants in India. The other plant in India is in Himachal Pradesh. It actually thrives on a very, very nice facility, which we established in 2013, and we have green energy since the beginning there, thanks to the hydropower plants. In Maharashtra, we have decided to adopt a multi-pronged approach in order to go carbon neutral. And our ambition is to become carbon neutral by 2021 March. And we are actively seeking in this direction. So we are very happy that we will be among the 40 factories of L'Oreal worldwide to go carbon neutral. And we'll be among the first FMCG companies to have all our facilities carbon neutral next year. Our request to this forum and Honorable Minister Ji is to look at probably the cross-subsidiary charges that sometimes are levied on the carbon neutral projects. And that will actually ease companies like us to invest more in this field. We absolutely intend to contribute to the environment, and we have been really, really active, and L'Oreal has a global commitment regarding this. Thank you very much for the opportunity to speak today.
Thank you very much. May I have Mr. Mukesh Chawla from Le Grand, India, please?
Thank you, Honorable Mr. Raut, the Consul General of France, and the dear members of India Chambers of France. Thank you for giving me an opportunity to present Le Grand. Le Grand is a global specialist in electrical and digital building infrastructure. We have an industrial footprint in more than 50 countries, and we have been long committed to limit the impact of our activities on the environment. In India, we have 9 plants. Out of the 9 plants, the 4 plants are situated in Maharashtra, 1 in Taluja, 2 in Nasik, and 1 in Jalgaon. And we have our own CSR roadmap, and we are working on in order to reduce the carbon emission by almost more than 10%. We have an energy roadmap which is fully prepared. And our focus is in terms of the renewable energies. We have already installed renewable energies in our plant in Haryana. This year, we are having a renewable energy in our Jalgaon plant, and our plan is to have a renewable energies in our Nasik plant also in the coming year. And our plan is more or less by 2021, more than 20% of our energy should come from the renewable energy. My request to the minister is there. One is the ease of business in Maharashtra, as we like to do more and more investment, and the power quality, particularly in the Jalgaon where we have a frequent power failures on that side. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much. Last and not the least, may I have Mr. Ravan Mirchandani, Chairman of Adar Powertron, to please take it forward.
Thank you very much, Tracy. Good morning, Mr. Minister Raut, Madame Sonia Barbie, and all the other delegates from the French Ministry of Europe and Foreign Affairs, as well as the Indo-French Chamber Secretariat and members of the panel. Thank you for this opportunity. Minister Raut, my name is Ravan Mirchandani, and I'm Chairman of Adar Powertron. We manufacture equipment for power stations, and our equipment is within the clean air purification systems of most thermal power stations in India today. We also supply Alstom, now GE, in 75 countries with equipment that's made in Pune, in Maharashtra, for pollution control at power stations. One of our future focuses is to work, we are working with European companies to bring hydrogen generation technology to India. Hydrogen is a very interesting source to support renewable energy, such as solar and wind, for firming technologies. Something sometimes referred to as the hydrogen battery, because the problem with renewable energy is you either have too much or not enough. And what hydrogen allows is the opportunity to store long-term the energy from renewable sources such as solar and wind, and either transport it to fringe of grid applications or use it at a time when you're going to need maybe even 10 or 15 years from now. We're working actively with European companies. We're working also with NTPC. And I do hope that in Maharashtra, there is a serious view towards looking at how we can firm renewable energy through the use of technologies such as hydrogen. There is tremendous potential to continuously use the wind farms, especially when the grid is at its maximum peak, or in seasons such as the monsoon, where we have tremendous wind, or summer, where we have tremendous solar energy but can't store adequately. Hydrogen will be the panacea for those ills. We also have developed a technology which is very unique to India, which helps existing thermal power stations greatly reduce their emissions. Of course, this needs a serious push from government, because power stations on their own will not look at this unless the government is serious. And we do hope that the government of Maharashtra, through your good offices, will help us preserve the clean air that Corona has given us as a gift in the last 4 months, so that when we do come back to work, we can all still continue to enjoy the skies that are blue like in the 1980s that we've been seeing. Thank you very much, Mr. Minister.
Thank you very much, Ravan. Over to you, Honorable Minister.
Good morning, Madam Sonia Babri, Mr. Sumit, Mr. Nirav, Mr. Dibanshu, Mr. Bruno, and other distinguished participants. I am thankful to Indo-French Chamber of Commerce and Industry and Khetan and Company for organizing this round table discussion on topic of renewable energy sector, making Maharashtra preferred destination and giving me the opportunity to participate in it. As you said correctly, that India is one of the countries with large production of energy from renewable sources. As of 31st March 2020, 35.86% of India's installed electricity generation capacity is from renewable sources, generating 21.22% of total utility electricity in the country, as committed in the Paris Agreement for achieving 40% of total electricity generation from non-fossil fuel sources by 2030. Further, Maharashtra has an energy potential of 45.39 gigawatt from wind power, which is third highest in India, and energy potential for solar of 64.32 gigawatt, which is again third highest in India. Maharashtra is always on forefront of promoting the renewable energy sources to meet the power demand of consumer through clean energy. Accordingly, Government of Maharashtra has introduced different policy measures time to time for promoting RE in the state, and hence it is always preferred destination for our investors and project developers. The RE technology and market is now mature, and almost all renewable energy capacity is being tied up through competitive bidding process only, which is helping to distribution companies to reduce their power purchase cost. Presently, around 9,800 megawatt renewable energy projects are installed in the state, which comprises of around 5,000 megawatt from wind projects, 2,400 megawatt from Bagasi, based cogen project and 1700 megawatt from solar project and balance from other RE sources. This is around 23% of total power project capacity installed in the state. Further, in last 2 years, Maharashtra state alone having share of around 83% of total state power demand has floated more than 10,000 megawatt. RE procurement tenders and tied up around 5,500 megawatt RE capacity for fulfillment of RPO target given by state regulator at average rate of below rupees 3 per unit. While contracting RE capacity, MSEDCL has tried to explore all available opinion of RE sources like wind, solar, cogen, etc. so that consumer demand can be met through this diversified energy mix at optimum cost. Further, in line with Government of India RE capacity additional plan, the State Commission has increased present RPO target of 16% in this financial year 2020-21 to 25% in financial year 24-25, which I think in huge target for state like Maharashtra, where total power purchased by all distribution company is around 1.50 million units. To meet this huge RPO target, the distribution cost in the state required to tie up at least 7,000 megawatt RE capacity within 1 year, and there will be huge opportunity available to investors, project developers to install RE project in the state. To facilitate the RE project developers and further for ease of doing business in the state, various following measures are taken. Even though feed-in tariff of earlier RE project is considerably high as compared to present market rate, there is not a single tariff negotiation case in the state and sanctity of all PPAs is being maintained. There is robust regulatory structure established in the state and clear regulations covering all aspects of RE projects for minimum 5-year period are in place. MSEDCL has already implemented online billing and payment ERP module for renewable energy projects, by which if project developer install automatic meter reading system AMR or upload meter reading through meter reading instrument in the system, then billing, invoicing and payment in the designated account is done through online system automatically. Further, MSEDCL has done payment prioritization to the generators whose capacity is tied up through competitive bidding process, and there is no any delay of payments to these generators. Also, payment security mechanism through bank LC is already in place, and creation of separate fund as additional payment security is being done. Also, if there is any RE project is developed in the state and has no long-term PPA, then to accommodate this RE till it get tie up, MSEDCL has developed a web portal for short-term power procurement for wind, solar generators, and the generators can apply through this online web portal for sale of energy to MSEDCL on short-term basis. Further, the state is in the process of finalization of RE policy 2020. And through this policy and procedures, it is proposed to address all the difficulties being faced by generators in the state, like a single window system for approvals with online and automated system to expedite the procedural approvals, creation of land bank, etc., which will facilitate to the project developers for installing their projects in the state. Once again, I thanks to the Indo-French Chamber of Commerce and Industry and Khetan and Company for arranging this roundtable meet and showing interest for investment in Maharashtra. RE projects. I further thank especially to Madam Sonia Barbary as Consul General Consulate of France in Mumbai, Mr. Bruno, Mr. Payal Kaur, DG IFCCI, Mr. Divanshu Sinha, partner, Khetan and Company, and all other distinguished participants who took part in today's meet, and all who took efforts for arranging this meet. I am again thankful to all. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much, Honorable Minister. May I request Bruno to kindly give the concluding remarks?
Yes, please. On behalf of all the participants, I would like to express my gratitude to the Honorable Minister of Energy, Sri Nitin Raut, for his kind presence and very inspiring address, and for providing a great opportunity to French companies to express their views and their concerns, support the development, operations, and the growth of renewable energies in the state of Maharashtra. Honorable Minister, if you allow us, we would like to keep in touch with your cabinet if any follow-up be done and to make this event even more successful. I would also like to thank Ms. Sonia Barbary, Consul General of France, for her presence and input. We greatly value our collaboration with our knowledge partner, Khetan and Co., who prepared the white paper submitted to your cabinet. Thank you, Pierre and Jean. Finally, a great thanks to our sponsor, Technique Solaire and Prismian. Hope to see you very soon. Meanwhile, stay safe and healthy. And again, thank you, Honorable Minister, for your participation. Thank you.
Thank you very much.
Thank you very much, Mohan.
Thank you very much, sir.
Thank you all.